In the last episode of the 370Z build, we got a heap of work done. We replaced the subframe, we welded the diff, we did the hydraulic handbrake, we put all the front end in, but then we realised that the slave cylinder had died. So the gearbox had to come out again. She is out, and you can see where it's been leaking, and you can see here, she's dripping out, so it definitely is faulty. So that's like at least good that we didn't pull it out for no reason. And I did know it had an aftermarket clutch, but don't know what it is. Usually direct clutches are red, but anyway, I'll pull it off because I've got to obviously clean it anyway, and I'll be able to check it out. All right, got the clutch out, and she's in mint condition. It's actually pretty much the same clutch as what I was going to run in the K70, I'm pretty sure. So anyway, there's plenty on that, so that's good. I'll clean that when I put it back in. But under here, flywheel looks good. Definitely, it's a new flywheel as well. It looks like it's hardly been driven actually. And this fell apart while I was pulling it out, so it was proper shagged. So order one of them and get this back in. I can still finish off the handbrake, do the steering wheel, do the seats. I can still do a bunch on this, but I actually want to get this off the hoist because I want to get that rolling again because I've sold that. Because I'm going to move everything down there, and this is going to go down there, and the ram's going to be here because next week we're starting the tray on that. So she's all happening, sort of bit off a fair bit, but we'll get there. Anyway, I might go to bed now and hit it again tomorrow. So we're back on the Z today, and as you can see, I've removed everything. That is because this is the bracket for the hydraulic handbrake. It sits in there, like so, but this is where the handbrake handle mounts, and as you can see, there's no way that's fitting in there with all this. So I'm going to cut this out here with my handy little Recipro. Right, so I just ended up cutting most of it out because you have to leave a fair bit of space for the reservoir and also the actual hydraulic line that comes from the calipers. I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit shit having the bracket coming out like that, because it makes this banjo joint really awkward because it's got to go backwards. It would be so much better if it was in a different position. But anyway, I'll be able to make it work. So that's sort of just all dry fitted. I'm going to pull it all out now and mount it in properly. Right, we've got our new slave cylinder. All right, out with the old. It's such an easy job to change that, but not the gearbox out and in. But anyway, new one's in, so chuck that back in soon. But I'm going to keep going with this handbrake setup. So I'm going to pull this trim off and go underneath that for now. I am planning on putting a half cage in it, so all this will have to come out anyway. So let's rip all this stuff out. So we've got all the rear pulled out, the hydro line going underneath, and I actually turned it around, and I think it will be okay to run it back that way, sort of over itself and underneath everything in here. The boot goes underneath this, so obviously I've got to put the gearbox back in before I bolt all this on anyway, but pretty happy with how that all sits, so that will work. So now I've got to fix the gearbox, and that is going to happen tomorrow. It's bedtime. I'm sorry I didn't feel much, but it's in. All fitted up underneath. It all works very simply. You just have to cut out the whole centre bit of this bottom one and cut out a bunch of this stuff on the side. But it's pretty simple really, and just I ran that up underneath, just made a little hole there. Self-tapping onto that and haven't screwed that in yet. But yeah, that's the hydro setup. All right, so a little update on the Z. I've had a bad run with it. Someone previous to me, because the clutch has been changed, so I know this gearbox has been out. Whoever changed the clutch, they screwed me over because on these they have the master cylinder, which comes out into this alloy block thing here, and there's a bleed nipple on that, and that bleed nipple was threaded, so I couldn't get it to seal properly. It was leaking. Anyway, I tried tapping it, putting a new one in, didn't work. Here's the new one that I bought. I tapped it to a different thread, tried that, it wouldn't seat on the inside. Anyway, so I've ordered another one, that's on the way, but that meant the gearbox had to come out again, which is so frustrating. But anyway, at least I could get the part. The dude's a legend. He's going to express freight it first thing Monday. So that'll be a next week night job. So today what I want to do is put the seat in and also put the oil cooler on. So let's get to that. All right, the seat's out. She needs a good clean in here. Definitely had some food eaten in it, but I bought this seat rail ages ago. So it's like a fixed one, which is kind of somewhat less than ideal, but it was cheap. And it should do for all intensive purposes. So let's bolt this in. That's going to be perfect. So bolt the seat rail down to this and chuck her in. I think I'll actually use one of my genuine bride seats. Even though they're a little bit small, can't bother pulling other ones out of the JZX, so chuck one of them in it. Sort of dry fitted this oil cooler in here. Nothing's tight. It has this bracket, the bolt's on there. The lines run through. It's going to be very tight there, so I'm going to need to put something on that because that will rub through. And then comes down under here, which I think is up out of the way enough, and then into this sandwich plate. So she's all very tight, but it's actually pretty good setup. Apparently, if you don't have an oil cooler on these things, they get hot pretty easy. So this is a good upgrade. That is installed, all tightened. Got a bit of rubber on the lines there and also in there. So they go nicely up into the relocation. Also finished the seat. Got the genuine bride in there. Looking all good. So that's perfectly positioned. Just waiting on a spacer so I can put my, you can see it there, got a red steering wheel. Going for a red and blue theme. So I'm going to call it there today. I'm going to enjoy the nice sunny day with my family. But the Z is getting there. Need to get the other, this is the thing, I don't know if I showed it to you. Another one of these for the gearbox. And then the gearbox can go back in, bleed up that clutch. And I think it's pretty much done, actually. Alignment's done, all the arms are done, handbrake's done, serviced it now, oil cooler. So we are looking pretty good. I was going to do a bash bar, but honestly, this thing's pretty damn good. So I might leave that at least for now. Anyway, see ya next time we're out here. So today we have everything we need to get this car going. This is the old clutch release, whatever the heck that is, thing for the clutch. New one, got express freighted. This bleed nipple was all that was holding us back. So put this in, gearbox back in, put it back together, fit up some tyres, load it on the trailer. So there's a whole heap to do. I'm not going to film much. Let's get into it, and hopefully I'll see you with it all sorted. Please, Lord, let me not We've had drama. As you can see, tried some donuts, and it worked good for the first 3 hoops, and then the steering went stiff. We pulled her in, and she'd pissed out all the fluid, so we bled it up, put more in, but pretty sure that the pump has shit itself. Yay! All that work for nothing. Well, kind of. So Braden's here. He's going to pull the pump off. Maybe we can put a seal in it. Chances are pretty unlikely, but Braden already got it out. Oh, I reckon about a 8% chance we can fix it. So I'll keep changing tyres while Braids and Mark work at that. And Benny's just arrived with all our steel for the trailer. So she's all happening. Well, bad news. We are out. The boys hustled trying to get the Z sorted. We got a electric power steering pump. It was looking like maybe we can make it work, but the lines from the rack to the pump were the wrong orientation. The thread was actually the same for the banjo, but yeah, the way that it works just wouldn't mate up properly. It wouldn't have been able to work at all. And we pulled the line out, got some AN fittings, so I came around with some AN fittings, but didn't have what we needed. So that is done and dusted. So crap. I've hustled on this car over the last few weeks in all my spare time, trying to get it together, and had it all together, ready to go. Just wasn't meant to be. So I'll go watch tomorrow. Can't take the JZX is out of action, so I can't even take that. So you know what? It is what it is. If it was around, I'd be devastated, but it's not. So I've still got till December now, basically, to get this thing sorted. Yeah, I know it's only cars, but pretty disappointed. Like I said, I've worked real hard lately, just trying to get this done. Put so much effort in, and I don't know why. It's blown out the seal on the power steering pump. Don't know why it had so much pressure. It's either just really unlucky or, yeah, I don't know. At least I don't have to get up as early tomorrow. Cars, when it's good, it's awesome. When it's not good, it's the worst. So I'm actually sitting here just finishing off this 370Z video, and I don't think I filmed it because I actually went off to Japan not long after this. But what ended up destroying the power steering pump was the GK Tech Heim joints. They were so stiff that they'd bound up. They had no movement in the actual ball joint, or hardly any. You couldn't move them by hand. Obviously you could with the assistance of the power steering, but it was putting so much pressure on the whole system that it blew out the front seal. We didn't know this at the time. We rebuilt the pump, put it back in, and it blew it out again. And then we realized what it was. So reached out to GK Tech. They sent out some new ones, but to be honest, pretty disappointed with their response, because it ended up costing me hundreds and hundreds of dollars. I missed the drift day after, weeks of flat out work, and then had to buy a new power steering pump. So yeah, a little bit disappointing on that behalf, but we ended up getting the car sorted. And after Japan, we did take it to the very first track day, and it went awesome. So you have to keep watching to see that video later on. But yeah, thanks for watching. I know this was a bigger video, but I hope you enjoyed it. See you on the next one.